Hi everyone, my name is Yevgeny Yegorov. I'm a representative from the Simba team. I'm a UX UI designer, and today I would like to show you the work our huge cohesive team has done so far. Because in the last 6 months, we've invested so much effort into what we've done. By the way, you may have already seen the updated design for the simba.storage landing page, but if not, then be sure to have a look. Today, I would like to show you all the work we have done in the meantime, to talk a little bit about what we should expect in the future, and generally to show the results of our work so far. We worked hard. We've had many sleepless nights. And we not only put our professional skills into the work, but also our heart and soul. Let's start by describing what Simba is, in case there's anyone who is not already familiar with it. Let's go! So, a Simba is 100 millionth of a Bitcoin. So if we take 1 Bitcoin, that's already 100 million Satoshi, i.e., 1 Satoshi is the Bitcoin equivalent of a cent or a penny. 1 Simba is equal to 1 Satoshi. This means that if you own 1 Simba token, then you have 1 Satoshi, i.e., a really small piece of Bitcoin. With Simba, you can perform the following operations. You can store it yourself. You can transfer it to someone you know. And if necessary, you can also change it back into Bitcoin. Basically, you can exchange it for the amount of Bitcoin that you have in Simba. So if you have 100 million Simba, it means that you have 100 million Satoshi. Thus, you have 1 Bitcoin. If, by the way, you find the technicalities a bit complicated, if there's anything that's unclear, even though I am giving my best shot at putting everything in simple terms, then try visiting Trey's Academy. This isn't an ad, but it's really important that you understand everything that's going on in the modern world of the blockchain. Because blockchains are heading to all sorts of different industries nowadays. This is why it's important to learn and at least have a basic knowledge about blockchain technology so you can understand how it works, not least because there are various networks which we'll discuss today. There are various kinds of chains, wallets, and in order to at least understand the fundamentals, you need to do a little homework. And you can look up things on Trey's Academy in various languages, so if you're interested, then you can find links to all the resources I mentioned under this video. So stay with me and we'll talk about Simba. So, we have already mentioned storage, which is very important in the cryptocurrency world. Let's talk about how we store Bitcoin. The storage of Bitcoin is carried out on a special equipment designed for storage, and it operates with a multi-signature algorithm. It is also worth noting here that the equipment itself, it hasn't been connected to an external network, and inside this equipment, you can find hard drives from different manufacturers for the purpose of diversification. And the equipment itself is located in some of the safest countries in the world, which gives Simba users highly reliable storage for their assets. Continuing on the topic, I will say that placing Bitcoins in storage is super easy for users. I will show you how it can be done. It can be done in just a few very simple steps. And you should realize that when your Bitcoins are stored with Simba, some of the steps will require some time. This time is necessary for various inspections conducted by our security service. I will give you a specific description. When placing your Bitcoins in our storage, they're verified by our partner. And since Bitcoins contain information in their chain about where, how, and on which wallets, and through whom they have been transferred, only after these verifications, you can store your Bitcoins with us and receive a Simba amount equivalent to the number of Bitcoins you are storing. Yep. So, let's move on to what it is we're all here for. I'll show you what our team has worked on over the past 6 months. And I'll start, in fact, with the updated design of the Simba storage site. I'm sure you've seen it, but if you haven't, You can do it right now. Let's go! So, we will proceed to the main page of Simba Storage. I would recommend going there if you haven't already done so. We can see the home page. Let's scroll. We've tried not only to convey the information itself, but to also make sure that the landing page itself isn't boring to scroll through. So there are lots of dynamic elements here. And not so many static parts. But if we refresh the page, we can see some of it. We've tried to make sure the interface shows we're reliable and mean business. We've provided some statistics here, and we'll go through how it works in just a few simple steps. Where our various offices are located, who our audience is, and what licenses the company's been granted as of now, and what partnerships we have and with which companies. So, here everything is crystal clear and straightforward to find, both on mobile and on desktops. So I highly recommend having a look at the website yourself. And now we can proceed with registration and move on to the part where you can access our service. Let me show you the tool the team has been working on. Since some features have already been implemented and some not yet, so I would like to show you the whole range. Let's start with registration, right? Imagine we're on the main page, and you've just reached the registration section. You can straight away fill everything out, get the confirmation email, and then go through verification. As I said earlier, we're on the updated interface. And when I was carrying out research into the field of user experience, I tried to take into account the best practices used nowadays and make the website more comfortable to use and compensate for the possible difficulties you may have since the interface is new for you. But with the various little hints, which I'll show you, any issues you may have with the new interface can be slightly reduced. And here we can see from the very first screen that is already giving us hints about what passwords you can have, what parameters, features, etc. it needs. So, we've signed up, and then we go from the confirmation email to the main page. Here's what our personal account on Simba Storage looks like. Here we can see all the modules that I'll be talking about today. These are a few Simba Storage modules. Here's the one for SST tokens, and here's Simba Gold. Some of these modules aren't ready yet, and I can't tell you about them today, but I will try to talk about the most interesting parts in detail. So, we've reached the main screen, and in order to use these functions, we need to go through verification. I won't stay here long. I'll just show the main things that we've done. Once again, it's nice and clear so that the user can see what steps are needed to be taken. There are plenty of explanations everywhere. We keep going through verification, and these icons help to show what requirements need to be fulfilled. Our identity document and selfie have been approved, and now we're ready to reach the main screen. Here's what it looks like. There are some parts you already recognize, no doubt, since there are some people watching who already are using the site or have used similar services before. And there's something here in particular. Here you can see Connect Wallet, which you may have seen in exchanges like Uniswap, 1inch, or PancakeSwap. So you already have seen some familiar patterns of interaction with the system. So, what can we see here? We have the main screen. Here are our main modules. This is the Simba module. This is the SST module and the Gold module. And today we'll talk a little bit about that as well. Here are the most recent transactions. We can see them on the main screen without any problems there. And here we can get a visual idea of what currencies we already have. And we see that at the moment, we already have a wallet added. It has both Simba and SST in large quantities. And we can see what operations we've got to, and what transactions we've already made. So, everything is nice and clear, all conveniently located. We can see the date, the quantity, transaction hash, the network the operation was performed in, and the operation itself, whether it's depositing Simba or withdrawing it, and its status. By the way, a little later I'll show you how to download a little bit more information about a completed operation. I'll go over that a little later. Of course, I want to mention that our team is working constantly. We're constantly trying to improve our service. And these tooltips mean that you're not on your own when using our product and have something to help you understand. We show these kinds of tips everywhere. For example, if you mouse over this module, which we'll talk about later, you can see a hint saying that our team is preparing to release this feature, so you can expect it soon. Let's talk a little more about security. Since as cryptocurrency gets more and more popular, the amount of potential danger also increases, which is something we need to be prepared for. Protecting your account is crucial. There's a good chance you've seen something like this before, either on an exchange service or a wallet service. Our service also prioritizes security to protect our users from hackers, from having their Bitcoin stolen. So we have implemented two-factor authentication, 2FA. And this can be done in just a few steps. We'll tell you in more detail how to do it. You just need to enable 2FA, then scan a QR code, and the next time you log in, you just need to enter the code generated in the app on your phone. And if you don't need it, you can disable 2FA, but I wouldn't recommend doing so. It's much safer with it. What else can be done in your personal account? You can add a number of wallets. Because we're planning to let people receive Simba over several networks. At the moment, you can do it via the ERC20 network, but I hope that pretty soon you're able to do it via BEP20, which has a lower commission. Although, in principle, ERC20's commission is not that large either. You can add these wallets to your account so that you're not being asked about adding wallets or missing bits off the address. You can do that in your personal account. Let's talk a bit more about sending Simba into storage. I'll say a bit more quickly about what I said at the very beginning. You can add a wallet to display your balance and conduct operations. To do this, you can click Connect Wallet, both on mobile and on desktop. And you can see a few familiar faces, such as the MetaMask Fox and Wallet Connect. You can use any method that's convenient for you, and once you've added your wallet, you can see it up here. And here, we can see the wallet's current balance. In terms of security, it would be useful to note that if you don't want people to see your balance, you can choose an option to hide it so that no one watching your screen can see it. These are some of the things we've considered. It's worth mentioning that the features we present here haven't come from nowhere. There are patterns here that you'll already be familiar with. The research and analysis we've done means that working with this interface won't cause any issues. If this isn't the case, then please contact support and let us know what the issue is, what you found inconvenient or difficult to understand. We collect feedback, analyze, and if there's something genuinely wrong, then we'll introduce changes and carry out research to fix it. Let's go further and have a look at our main feature. We can use this to give you a better idea of how our interface works. These are options we have for putting Bitcoin on storage. We're on the main screen here, and we'll click on the module we need. In this case, the Simba module. We see that there's nothing in our balance so far, and our task is to put some of our Bitcoins in and place them in storage. Here's how we do it. A window will open and will show us how to request to add a wallet for receiving Simba works. So the first step is to add a wallet if we haven't already done so. And after that, once we've added the wallet, we can go to the next step. Note the pop-up hints again. They're all over the interface. Almost like they're following us, in a good way. Now, you need to connect an ERC20 wallet that you have access to in order to get Simba. To add a MetaMask wallet, log in from a browser that supports the MetaMask extension. It means browsers that are built on Chromium, such as Brave or Chrome. There may be some others. The ones I named are just the most popular. You can definitely use them. Next, once we've added it, we can move on to the second step, creating a transaction. Here you need to fill out the necessary parameters, i.e. the amount in Bitcoins we want to store. We can see how much Simba that is, and how much it will be in dollars. We can also manually indicate the equivalent in another currency. For example, if you want to use euros or dirhams, we'll add that soon too. You can store it in any currency you like. Here we say we want to store 1,700,000 Simba. This is how much it is in Bitcoins, 0.018 Bitcoin, i.e. 1,700,000 Satoshi is how much we want to store, and we currently have about $1,035.34. Next, we choose the storage rate. Here you can choose different rates. You can have a look for yourself, of course, but you'll definitely need these hints. The commission will be charged from the Simba you've placed in storage. After that, we go to the next step, paying for the transaction, and the system tells us that we need to send our Bitcoins to this address. Naturally, this address can be output as a QR code, or you can copy and paste if you're using a third-party wallet. And the system shows the address that we've entered in the previous step to obtain the amount of Simba we've specified. Once we've sent it, we need to confirm our operation. We have 2 hours to do so. If 2 hours is not enough, although I think 2 hours is quite enough, then this operation can be cancelled and you can commence a new one. We click Done after we send it. The system, of course, understands. The loading icon starts turning, and after a bit, if we don't have enough, or we've done something wrong, we can always contact support and find out what the problem was. After we send it, we can see that our operation is in process. See the main stages of the transaction, the wallet for receiving Simba, the amount of Simba to receive, and here is the step we talked about at the very beginning of the video, the security verification for the Bitcoins you've sent to us. Once it's been passed, you will, of course, see a notification telling you that everything has been completed successfully. And we see a hash of transactions we can click on, and we can see that the status of the transaction has changed to successful. And we can also see all our transactions in a special transactions log, which you can find on the main page. However, here at the moment, there is only one transaction that we can see, and accordingly, we can see the very amount that we have specified. It has reached us. The Bitcoin storage transaction has been successful. Here we can see that our balance has increased by the amount that we just stored a moment ago. Next, we have the opportunity to do one of the other things I mentioned at the beginning. Generate a report of operations that have been carried out. We filter it by week or by month, or for all the time. Or you can set your own period. Choose a certain wallet that is used for these operations, thereby creating statements. This is what it looks like. We made a little example so you can see for yourself. This statement will allow you to see how much has been done using a certain wallet over the chosen period, so that's really useful. Here's another interesting module that I spoke about earlier. This is where you can buy NFT gold, i.e. virtual ownership of physical gold. Here we can say that thanks to Simba, storing gold is easier. Physically storing gold has always been complicated. As financially literate people, you'll know that if you scratch an ingot, it will no longer be as presentable, nor as liquid, so it will be difficult to sell. But now, we can say that absolutely anyone and everyone can purchase gold and can own it, and we'll issue a unique NFT for it. This NFT will be proof that you own that particular piece of gold. And you can transfer that token into storage. If necessary, sell it. And in general, you know that this gold is yours, and you can do whatever you want with it, whether you want to store it, give it to someone, sell it, buy it. It's all nice and simple. So, here we see the main page of NFT Gold. There are different currency rates that we can see. Per gram, per ounce. You can see the main types of NFT that we have. Those being a kilogram, which is available for purchase, an ounce, and a gram. Each of these will be able to be bought. Currently, only kilograms are available. I'll show you how it works. The great advantage here is that gold really will be yours, and that fact will be confirmed by an official certificate with a signature and seal, which will be issued when you buy this gold, and the certificate will show that your ingot has a specific number and that it's genuinely stored in the company's balance. Here, you may have noticed that there are some trays, tabs, Purchase Gold, Wallet, and History. In other words, these control elements, whatever they are the same, or largely the same, with the aim of making you feel less stressed and more comfortable using the site. The Wallet tab tells you about how much gold you have at the moment, how much in grams, how much in ounces, how many ingots, and here, essentially, you can determine how much gold you own. Here we made a convenient display on filters. You can choose Sell, see what currently you own. Once again, there are plenty of things that you'll already be more or less familiar with. Purchase history, with hashes, amounts, and the status of the gold that's being purchased. You can filter and download the report just like before. Now let's look at how to make a purchase. By the way, about the certificate. In your wallet, you'll have this icon, which you can click on and see the certificate with your unique number. So, regarding purchasing, this is largely similar to what you've already seen. The process is up here. Here, you can choose what product you want. Kilogram, ounce, gram. Currently, only kilograms are available. And there are some details here. Let's say right now we want to choose an ounce. The system shows us that at the moment you have chosen 2 ounces. It shows the number of grams and the approximate price. But I'll say here again that only kilograms are available for purchase. This is a demonstration, so some things here will look like this for now. Next, we pay for the ingot we've chosen, or for an ounce or gram. We pay, and then the system informs us that the transaction is currently in progress. For now, we can watch it, leave and come back, or buy more ingots. And once the purchase is successful, we can see that the top part of the interface has been updated for us. And there are notifications about something that's happened in the tabs. And when we go to the Wallet tab, we can see that we have a new card for our new ounce. We can see its number and go and look at the more detailed certificate. In the future, of course, it will be possible to sell the whole thing, buy a new one, or do whatever you like with your physical gold. And in the history, we can also see a new tag telling us that this operation was done recently. And you can also look at all the data, like with Simba. To conclude, I want to say that the interface is only a small part of what we've done. In terms of what's under the hood, we have hours, days, months of work. Here is what our entire system looks like from the inside. Each screen didn't take an hour today. It means that we've done hours or days of work on each stage. We've conducted research, analytics, and the result of this is that in just one simple click, you can place your Bitcoins in a reliable Simba storage. I want to say a big thank you to the whole team. And in conclusion, I want to say that the team and I have done so much work and we're consistently doing things to improve not only our product, but also the user experience. So please don't be indifferent if you don't like something. Or if you don't like it, you can always give us feedback. There's a link to the support service below. You can always send us both enthusiastic reviews, and if there's something you don't understand, please let us know. In closing, I would like to say a big thank you to the entire Simba team. They worked incredibly hard on this product, and it was far from easy. But I would definitely say they did very well, and we keep improving the product. Thanks for watching. I hope everything made sense, and if there was anything you didn't understand, you can click on the link in the description. Thanks for watching. See you soon. And store your Bitcoin securely. Bye for now.